Gardens. The Miami Dolphins have not won a playoff game in now 24 going on 25 seasons. The Miami Dolphins, who feel directionless this offseason, we just learned about a week and a half ago that not only is Jalen Ramsey up for trade, Tyreek Hill's future with the franchise is still uncertain, and at the quarterback position, which is the most important position in all of team sports, you have a giant fat question mark in the form of Tua Tagovailoa. And it's not a question mark just regarding his ability when he's good. It's more so a question mark regarding his health, regarding his ability to lead a team and players wanting to play for him. And beyond that, if you are a Dolphins fan and you say best case scenario, Tua plays all 17 this year, and Tyreek Hill buys back in, and he's available, and he's playing well. Things are churning just like you had done in years prior when the Dolphins were actually good. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself this question. Just be real with yourself. Do you have a chance against the Bills? Do you? Because that's just the team in your division in the AFC East. Do you feel like you are a formidable opponent to knock off the Buffalo Bills, not in September, but in like November, December, maybe if you have to meet up with them in the playoffs? Like, at your best, with this roster, with that head coach, Mike McDaniel, do you think you have a chance against the Bills? And I think any Dolphins fan that you pump a little truth serum into, that you hook them up to a lie detector test, they're going to say, no, we don't. Not at all.
It's a good point because we've seen crappy teams make the playoffs in the AFC. Problem is, in order to get matched up with one of those crappy teams in the AFC, you got to win your division.
Got to win your division.
You're not going to get the Steelers in round one of the playoffs, Dolphins. I'm sorry.
No. And that's the issue with the Dolphins right now that they face is they went from having to face Tom Brady every single year, and then he literally immediately turned over the baton to Josh Allen. And the Dolphins are going to be perpetually in the middle class of the AFC East, which it would be cute if the AFC East was the NFC East. But you know what? There's the rest of the AFC you have to deal with as well. The Dolphins are going to struggle to make the playoffs with Tua at the helm, with Mike McDaniel and the current cast and crew, with the way in which they play these days. They will struggle to make the postseason, let alone in their postseason win drought, which, again, 24 years going. Let's just say in a hypothetical world, they're able to find a way to get a wild card spot in the AFC. Cool. Maybe you slide in as the 7 or the 6 seed. Perfectly fine. Very respectable for what the Dolphins have over there in their camp, in their locker room. But then I look at the AFC and I say, well, if you're going to be on the road and if you're going to be facing a potential division winner here, well, are there any other teams in the AFC that I can see the Dolphins having a chance against when I look at the other divisions and who's coming out? So the AFC West, we can go ahead and scrap that. We saw that a couple years ago. The Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. If they're not the 1 seed and they get the 2 or the 3 and they welcome the Dolphins into Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium, it's going to be cold again. It ain't going to be warm for the round one. It's going to be cold. Now you can chalk that up as a loss.
Yeah, and we heard from former players talking about how soft that Dolphins locker room is, where all of the kind of judgment that is bestowed upon Miami for being soft because of playing in Miami, it's all justified now. Yeah. We have eyewitness accounts of someone who was in that locker room very recently saying, yeah, it is a weak mentally and physically team.
I think it was the Sean Elliott, the defensive back that went from the Dolphins to then the either Steelers or the Ravens or back and forth between whatever it was. Yeah, he was like, yeah, them dudes is weak.
So even
them dudes are soft.
Like, they could play that game on Mars and it's still the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's the Miami Dolphins.
All right, so I'll fancy you this. Maybe the Chiefs have the number 1 overall seed. So if you're the Dolphins, you luck into the fact that you get to play the winner of the AFC North. Yeah. So the Ravens or the Bengals.
And we can poke fun all about the Bengals all we want. They're still in a better spot right now than the Miami Dolphins are.
Joe Burrow's better than Tua. Jamar Chase is better than Tyreek Hill. T. Higgins is better than Jalen Waddle. And that's just the offense I'm talking about. Both sides have a lot of questions on defense, but more specifically at the position that matters most, I would trust Joe Burrow, especially because that game would be at home. Now, I only have to talk about the Ravens. That would be a blowout. But if it is the Bengals, somehow, some way, the Bengals figure things out, which I don't think they will, and they win the North, I don't see the Dolphins as currently constructed being able to compete with them in the playoffs either, let alone if somehow, some way the Browns, it's not happening. But if somehow, some way the Browns make something shake or the Steelers, the Dolphins are working up against a deficit in any of these scenarios, and the same would go for the AFC South unless it's somebody other than the Texans. I don't see Cam Ward leading the Titans to a division title this year. I definitely don't see Trevor Lawrence. I don't care how crafty Liam Cohen is. I don't see them figuring it out. But I'm interested in what they do at the number 5 pick now. A lot of shakiness. People saying that this NFL draft CCAT starts at the number 5 pick, and we'll have former general manager of the Jets, former VP of football operations of the Dolphins, Mike Tannenbaum. We'll have him later on here in the show, and I'll ask him if he were the Jaguars, what he would do at 5, because 1 through 4 feels pretty chalk right now. I just don't know what that direction is going to be, and I think that now that there's new voices and a new leadership in Jacksonville, maybe there's some kind of consistency, but the Texans have that division on lock. And either way, the Texans or a revised version of the Jaguars, I still don't like the Dolphins' chances. The only good thing about those two teams is the Texans play in a dome, the Jaguars play in Jacksonville, so at least it'll be warm enough for the Texans or for the Dolphins.
Conditions will fit their style of play.
Miami's not ending their postseason win drought anytime soon, just like the Detroit Pistons were able to do it last night. The difference is Detroit has the one thing that Miami doesn't. I liken an NBA superstar, a number 1 option, a guy like a Cade Cunningham, a guy like a Anthony Edwards, a guy like a Luka Doncic, a guy like a Kawhi Leonard. I liken those guys to franchise quarterbacks in the NFL. If you ain't got one of them, you ain't going to make it out of the playoffs. If you ain't got one of them, you cannot consistently rely on being able to contend. Detroit got one. It's Cade Cunningham. That's why they ended their postseason win drought. The Dolphins have Tua Tagovailoa, who is a serviceable quarterback, especially in a good system. He throws the ball on time. He has a strong enough arm to get the job done. But again, there's just so many greater quarterbacks in his conference alone, let alone the NFL, that he just is. You're working at a deficit with that guy at your QB position. It's just like the Miami Heat. Their number 1 option is Tyler Hero. So get ready for the Cavs to break out the brooms and for you to continuously be embarrassed until you find your way to work up the lottery and get yourselves a guy like Cade, a guy like Ant Edwards, a guy like Luka Doncic, maybe even a guy like a Victor Wembanyama. Give yourself some hope with a number 1 option, and the Dolphins don't have that. Who is going to be the next franchise, player, team, coach to break a generational drought like what the Detroit Pistons were able to do last night by winning their first postseason game since 2008? Their first playoff win in 15 tries. It was